Something very profound. I would like to read first, and then we will go in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, I will read from another section of Chaitanya Charitamrita. First is I think, chapter 4. It describes the external reason for appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he wants to taste, but other things also there to distribute the holy name to this fallen soul like us. Chaitanya Charitamrita, about two of the most important principles of devotional service that Lord Chaitanya taught and that we are meant to learn and adopt. This discussion took place between Lord Chaitanya and the Mayavadi sannyasis in Benares. In the Sankara Sampradaya, it is expected the sannyasi will study Vedanta, and Varanasi is full of Mayavadis, full of followers or so-called followers of Shankaracharya. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Varanasi, he performed Harinam Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan, and thousands of people joined him. But the Mayavadi sannyasis, impersonal sannyasis, who want to realize Brahman, could not understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. They thought that the Lord's activity were material. That's why they are called Mayavadis, because they themselves are material, on the material platform, and they see the Lord, His name, His form, His qualities, His pastime, His service as material, as Maya. They think that the deity is material, that in the beginning we may focus on the deity, but that when we are advanced enough, we go beyond the deity and merge and become one with the impersonal light. In other words, in reality, they are atheists. This is a very nice verse in the Padma Puran, saying that anyone who thinks that the deity is just stone, who thinks that the Guru is an ordinary human being, who thinks that the Vaishnava belongs to a certain caste or community, is a resident of hell. That word is used, naraki. Archaye Vishnu Shiladhir, Guru Shunarmatir, Vaishnave Jati Buddhir, Shri Vishnu Namni Mantre, Shakala Kalushahi Sabde, Samanya Buddhir, Yasyava Naraki Saha. One who considers the worshipable deity of Lord Vishnu to be more mere a stone, the spiritual master to be an ordinary human being, a Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, and the mantra of the holy name of the Vishnu, which destroy all impurities, to be a material vibration, is a residence of hell. Padma Purana states that. So just consider, if you think the deity is made of stone, of course, in theory, we may say that the deity is Krishna. But to what extent do we actually believe that the deity is Krishna, as shown by our behavior? If one thinks that the spiritual master is an ordinary person, and again, we may outwardly show respect, but the real test is to what extent we follow the spiritual master instructions. If you think that the Vaishnava belong to a certain community or ethnic group, for example, if I think I'm in a Indian Vaishnava body, or African Vaishnava, or a Mexican Vaishnava, or a Bengali Vaishnava, or a Gujarati Vaishnava, That is a hellish mentality. Narakasha. To really benefit from what Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada came to give us, we have to understand what they taught and practice so that we can follow their instructions and example. Lord Chaitanya speaking with the Mayavadi sannyasis. There was a meeting of all the sannyasis of Varanasi. And the leader of the Mayavadi sannyasi asked Lord Chaitanya, quote, why don't you study Vedanta? All sannyasis are supposed to study the Vedanta, unquote. How Lord Chaitanya replied to them? Guru Mora Murkha Dehi Karila Sasana. Quote, my spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me, unquote. This shows what should be the mood of a disciple in relation to the spiritual master. As Srila Prabhupada said, one should always feel himself to be a fool and be ready to be chastised by the Guru. In the bodily concepts of life, we feel insulted. Quote, how dare he call me a fool? Doesn't he know me? Who am I? One of Lord Chaitanya's chief disciples was Srila Sanatana Goswami, a very learned scholar. He was fluent in Sanskrit and Persian and knowledgeable in scriptures and philosophy. But when he approached Lord Chaitanya, what did Sanatana Goswami tell Lord Chaitanya? Quote, in ordinary dealings, people kill me, call me a learned scholar, Pandit. But I am such a Pandit that I do not even know who I am or what is the good goal of our life. So please instruct me, unquote. When we come to that position where we feel that we are fools who need to be instructed, we can approach a spiritual master. The same sort of incident took place in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna was speaking with Krishna more or less like on an equal level, talking as a friends. And Krishna was telling Arjuna that he should fight. And Arjuna was coming up with so many reasons why he should not fight. From a certain point of view, the reason may have sounded good, but in the end, Arjuna came to the point where he admitted he really didn't know what he should do. And then he told Krishna, like Sanatana Goswami in a way, that quote, now I'm confused about my duty. Sishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. Quote, now I'm surrendering to you as your disciple. Please instruct me. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha prachami tvam dharma samudachetaha yat sresyasyam nishchitam bruhitanme sisyaste sadi mam tvam prapannam. Quote, now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserable weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you, Krishna, to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul. Surrender unto you. Please instruct me. Bhagavad Gita 2:7. And from that point, when Arjuna surrendered to Krishna as his spiritual master, Krishna was able to instruct him and spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So Guru More Murkha Dekhe Karila Sasana. Lord Chaitanya says, quote, my spiritual master considered me to be a fool and he chastised me. He told me, quote, you are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, unquote. Was Lord Chaitanya unqualified? He is Krishna himself. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that Vedanta Krut Veda Veda. I am the compiler of the Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. But here Lord Chaitanya was showing us an example that we should not be so proud that we think we can understand the Vedanta. Because in Kali Yuga, you really can't understand Vedanta. He was setting the example. Quote, my spiritual master considered me a fool and said, quote, you are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna, unquote. So this is the Ishwarpuri's instruction to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how the Lord Chaitanya took it, he said, I took the instruction of my spiritual master to heart and I always chant the holy name. But while chanting, I lose myself and thus I laugh, cry, dance, sing, just like being covered. So I approach my spiritual master for clarification. In text 80, I saw that I have become mad by chanting the holy name, and I immediately submitted this at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. In the purport, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ideal teacher shows us how a disciple should deal with his spiritual master. Whenever there is a doubt regarding any point, he should refer to the matter to his spiritual master for clarification. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that while chanting and dancing, he had developed the kind of mad ecstasy that is possible only for a liberated soul. Yet, even in his liberated position, he referred everything to his spiritual master whenever there were doubts. Thus, in any condition, even when liberated, we should never think of ourselves independent of the spiritual master, but must refer to him as soon as there is some doubt regarding our progressive spiritual life. Now there are some details how to apply this, but it is the principle that even when we are liberated, we are not independent. We are still subservient to the spiritual master and meant to be under his control. Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master was really pleased because he could understand that Lord Chaitanya had developed aesthetic love for Godhead. This is the benefit of chanting the holy name of Krishna properly. There are offenses to be considered when one chants the holy name. And if one commits offenses while chanting, one will not get the desired result. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Bahu Janma, that one can chant the holy name for many lifetimes, hundreds of lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes. But that if one chanting is infested with offenses, one will not get pure love of Godhead, which is meant to be the result of the chanting. So it is understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting without any offenses. Of course, he was not different than Krishna. But as a devotee, he was chanting without offense. Therefore, he developed aesthetic symptoms of love of Godhead, and his spiritual master was very pleased. It is said that the spiritual master takes more pleasure when he sees a disciple advance than when he himself advances. If a disciple becomes a pure devotee, like I was telling that every book Prabhupada writes that all this effort, if I will be able to make even one pure devotee, my hard labor is successful. If a disciple become a pure devotee, then the spiritual master can say that his mission is a complete success. So I think I'm gonna go to this more detail about the life and pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is something was really instructive. So we have that limitations for our concentration, maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes. So I thought to read that first because then we will lose it. This account originally appeared in a short work by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entitled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precept, dated August 20th, 1896. That was taken from prologue to teaching of Lord Chaitanya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in 1974. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Mayapur in the town of Nadia just after sunset on the evening of 23rd Falgun, 1407 Sakabda, answering to the 18th of February 1486 of the Christian era. The moon was eclipsed at the time of his birth, and the people of Nadia were then engaged, as was usual on such occasion, in bathing in the Bhagirathi with loud cheers of Haribol. His father Jagannath Mishra, a poor Brahmana of the Vedic order, and his mother Sachidevi, a model good woman, both descended from Brahman stock originally resided in Sylhet. Mahaprabhu was a beautiful child, and the ladies of the town came to see him with presents. His mother, father, Pandit Nilamra Chakravarti, a renowned astrologer, foretold that the child would be a great personage in time, and he, therefore, gave him the name Vishwambar. The ladies of the neighborhood styled him Gora Hari on account of his golden complexion, and his mother called him Nimai on account of his nimba tree near which he was born. Beautiful as the lad was, everyone heartily loved to see him every day. As he grew up, he became a whimsical and flourishing lad. After his 5th year, he was admitted into the Pathshala, where he picked up Bengali in a very short time. Most of his contemporary biographers have mentioned certain anecdotes regarding Chaitanya, which are simple records of his early miracles. It is said that when he was an infant in his mother's arms, he wept continually, and when the neighboring ladies cried Hari Bol, he used to stop. Thus there was a continuation of utterance of the Hari Bol in the house, foreseeing the future mission of the hero. It has also been stated that when his mother gave him sweetmeats to eat, he ate clay instead of the food. His mother asking for the reason, and he stated that every sweetmeat was nothing but clay transformed. He could eat clay as well. His mother, who was also the consort of a Pandit, explained that every article in a spatial state was adapted to a spatial use. Earth, while in the state of a jug, could be used as a water pot, but in the state of a brick, such a use was not possible. Clay, therefore, in the form of a sweetmeat was usable as food, but clay in its other state was not. The lad was convinced and admitted his stupidity in eating clay and agreed to avoid the mistake in the future. Another miraculous act has been related. It is said that the Brahmana on pilgrimage became a guest in his house, cooked food, and read grace with meditation upon Krishna. In the meantime, the lad came and ate up the cooked rice. The Brahmana, astonished at the lad's act, cooked again at the request of Jagannath Mishra. The lad again ate up the cooked rice, while the Brahmana was offering the rice to Krishna with meditation. The Brahmana was persuaded to cook for the third time, and this time all the inmates of the house had fallen asleep. And so the lad showed himself as Krishna to the traveler and blessed him. The Brahmana was then lost in ecstasy at the appearance of the object of his worship. It has also been stated that two thieves stole away the lad from his father's door with a view to purloin his jewels and gave him sweetmeats on the way. The lad exercised his illusory energy and deceived the thieves back to his own house. The thieves, for fear of detection, left the boy there and fled. Another miraculous act that has been described is the lad's demanding and getting from Hiranya and Jagdish all the offering they had collected for worshipping Krishna on the day of Ekadasi. When only 4 years of age, he sat on rejected cooking pots, which were considered unholy by his mother. And he explained to his mother that there was no question of holiness or unholiness as regard to earthen pots thrown away after cooking was over. These anecdotes relate to his tender age up to the 5th year. In his 8th year, he was admitted into the Tola of Gangadas Pandit in Ganganagar, close by the village of Mahaprabhu. In 2 years, he became well read in Sanskrit grammar and rhetoric. His teaching after that were of the nature of a self-study in his own house. When he had found all important books belonging to his father, who was a Pandit himself, it appeared that he read the Smriti in his own study and Nyaya also in competition with his friends, who were then studying under the celebrated Pandit Raghunath Shiromani. Now, after the 10th year of his age, Chaitanya became a passable scholar in grammar, rhetoric, the Smriti, and the Nyaya. It was after this that his elder brother Vishwarup left his house and accepted the ashram status of a sannyasi ascetic. Chaitanya, though a very young boy, consoled his parents, saying that he would show them with the view to please God. Just after that, his father left this world, and his mother was exceedingly sorry, and Mahaprabhu, with his usual contented appearance, consoled his widow mother. It was at the age of 14 or 15 that Mahaprabhu was married to Lakshmi Devi, the daughter of Vallabhacharya, also of Nadia. He was at this age considered one of the best scholars of Nadia. The renowned seat of Nyaya, philosophy, and Sanskrit learning. Not to speak of the Smarta Pandits, the Nayayikas were all afraid of confronting him in literary discussions. Being a married man, he went to Eastern Bengal on the bank of the Padma for acquirement of wealth. There he displayed his learning and obtained a good sum of money. It was at this time that he preached Vaishnavism at intervals. After teaching him the principle of Vaishnavism, he ordered Tapan Mishra to go to and live in Banaras. And during his residence in East Bengal, his wife Lakshmi Devi left this world from the effect of a snake bite. On returning home, he found his mother in a mourning state. He consoled her with a lecture on the uncertainty of the human affairs. It was at his mother's request that he married Vishnupriya, the daughter of Raj Pandit Sanatan Mishra. His comrade joined him on his return from Pravas or sojourn. He was now so renowned that he was considered to be the best Pandit in Nadia. Keshav Mishra of Kashmir, who had called himself the great Digvijay, came to Nadia with a view to discuss with the Pandit of that place. Afraid of the so-called conquering Pandit, the Tula professor of Nadia left the town on pretense of invitation. Kesava met Mahaprabhu at the Barokona Ghat in Mayapur, and after a very short discussion with him, he was defeated by the boy, and mortification obliged him to decamp. Nimai Pandit was now the most important Pandit of his times. It was at age of 16 or 17 then he traveled to Gaya with a host of his students and there took his spiritual initiation from Ishwarpuri, a Vaishnava sannyasi and a disciple of renowned Madhavendra Puri. Upon his return to Nadia, Nimai Pandit turned a religious preacher, and his religious nature became so strongly represented that Advaita Prabhu, Srivas, and others who had before the birth of Chaitanya already accepted the Vaishnava faith were astonished at the change of the young man. He was then no more a contending Nyayika, a wrangling smarta and criticizing rhetorician. He swooned at the name of Krishna and behaved as an inspired man under the influence of his religious sentiment. It has been described by Murari Gupta, an eyewitness, that he showed his heavenly powers in the house of Srivat Pandit in the presence of hundreds of his followers, who were mostly well-read scholars. It was at this time that he opened a non-cultural school of Kirtan in the compound of Srivat Pandit with his sincere followers. There he preached, there he sang, there he danced, and there he expressed all sorts of religious feelings. Nityanand Prabhu, who was then a preacher of the Vaishnavism and who had then completed his travel all over India, joined him at that time. In fact, a host of Pandit, preacher of Vaishnavism, all sincere at heart, came and joined him from different parts of the Bengal. Nadia now became the regular seat of a host of Vaishnava acharyas, whose mission it was to spiritualize mankind with the highest influence of the Vaishnava creed. The first mandate that he issued to Prabhu Nityananda and Haridas was this, quote, "Go, friends, go through the street of the town, meet every man at his door and ask him to sing the name of Hari with a holy life. And you then come and report to me every evening the result of your preaching," unquote. Thus ordered the two preachers went on and met Jagai and Madai, two most abnormal characters. They insulted the preacher on hearing Mahaprabhu's mandate, but were soon converted by the influence of bhakti devotion, inculcated by their Lord. The people of Nadia were now surprised. They said, quote, "Nimai Pandit is not only a gigantic genius, but he is certainly a missionary from God Almighty." From this time to his 23rd year, Mahaprabhu preached his principle, not only in Nadia, but in all important towns and villages around his city, in the house. To his followers, he showed miracles, taught the esoteric principle of bhakti, and sang his Sankirtan with other bhaktas. His follower of the town of Nadia commenced to sing the holy name of Hari in the street and bazaars. This created sensation and roused different feeling in different quarters. The bhaktas were highly placed. The Smarta Brahmanas became jealous of Nimai Pandit's success and complained to Chand Kazi against the character of Chaitanya as an Hindu. The Kazi came to Srivas Pandit's house and broke a mrudanga there and declared that unless Nimai Pandit ceased to make noise about his poor religion, he would be obliged to enforce Mohammedanism on him and his follower. This was brought to Mahaprabhu's notice. He ordered the townspeople to appear in the evening, each with torch in his hand. This they did, and Nimai marched out with his Sankirtan, divided in 14 groups. And on his arrival in the Qazi's house, he held a long conversation with the Qazi, and in the end, communicated into his heart his Vaishnava influence by touching his body. The Qazi then wept and admitted that he had felt a keen spiritual influence which has cleared up his doubts and produced in him a religious sentiment which gave him the highest ecstasy. The Qazi then joined the Sankirtan party. The world was astonished at the spiritual power of the great Lord, and hundreds and thousands of heretics converted and joined the banner of Vishwambara after this affair. It was after this that some of the jealous and low-minded Brahmanas of Kulya picked a quarrel with Mahaprabhu and collected a party to oppose him. Nimai Pandit was naturally a soft-hearted person, though strong in his principles. He declared that party feelings and sectarianism were the two great enemies of progress, and that as long as he should continue to be an inhabitant of Nadia, belonging to a certain family, his mission would not meet with complete success. So he then resolved to be a citizen of the world by cutting his connection with his particular family, caste, and creed. And with these resolutions, he embraced the position of a sannyasi at Katwa under the guidance of Keshava Bharti of that town on the 24th year of his age. His mother and wife wept bitterly for his separation, but our hero, though soft in heart, was a strong person in principle. He left his little world in his house for the unlimited spiritual world of Krishna with men in general. After his sannyas, he was induced to visit the house of Advaita Prabhu in Santipur. Advaita managed to invite all his friends and admirers from Nadia and brought Sachidevi to see her son. Both pleasure and pain invited her heart when she saw her son in the attire of a sannyasi. As a sannyasi, Krishna Chaitanya put on nothing but a kopin, 2 pieces of cloth and a linen cloth. And Bahirvash, outer covering, his head was without hair, and his hand bore a danda stick and a kamaltaru, hermit's water pot. The holy son fell at the feet of his beloved mother and said, "Good mother, this boy is yours, and I must obey your orders. Permit me to go to Vrindavan for my spiritual attainments." Unquote. The mother, in consultation with Advaita and others, asked her son to reside in Puri, the town of Jagannath, so that she might obtain his information now and then. And Mahaprabhu agreed to the proposition, and a few days left Santipur for Orissa. His biographies have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya. That was the name he got after his sannyas from Santipur to Puri in a great detail. He traveled along the side of the Bhagirathi as far as Chhatrabhog, situate now in Thana, Mathurpura, Diamond Harbor, 24 Parganas. There he took a boat and went as far as Prayaghat in the Midanpura district. Thence he walked through Balasur and Cuttack to Puri. Seeing the temple of Bhubaneswar on his way, upon his arrival at Puri, he saw Jagannath in the temple and resided with Sarvabhauma at the request of the latter. Sarvabhauma was gigantic Pandit of the day, and his reading knew no bounds. He was the best Nayika of the times and was known as the most erudite scholar in the Vedanta philosophy of the school of Sankaracharya. He was born in Nadia, Vidyanagar, and taught innumerable people in the Nyaya philosophy in his tola there. He had left for Puri sometime before the birth of Nimai Pandit. His brother-in-law Gopinath Mishra introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma, who was astonished at his personal beauty and feared that it would be difficult for the young man to maintain sannyas dharma during the long run of his life. Gopinath, who had known Mahaprabhu from Nadia, had a great reverence for him and declared that the sannyasi was not a common human being. On this point, Gopinath and Sarvabhauma had a very hot discussion. Sarvabhauma then requested Mahaprabhu to hear his recitation of the Vedanta Sutras, and the latter tactfully submitted. Chaitanya heard with silence what the great Sarvabhauma uttered with gravity for 7 days, and at the end of the which the latter said, Krishna Chaitanya, I think you do not understand the Vedanta, for you do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanation. The reply of Chaitanya was that he understood the sutras very well, but he could not make out what Sankaracharya meant by his commentaries. Astonished as this, Sarvabhauma said, quote, how is that you understand the meaning of the sutras and do not understand the commentaries which explain the sutras? All well, if you understand sutras, please let me have your interpretations. And Mahaprabhu thereon explained all the sutras in his own way without touching the pantheistic commentary of Sankara. The keen understanding of Sarvabhauma saw the truth, beauty, and harmony of argument in the explanation given by Chaitanya and obliged him to utter that it was the first time that he had found one who could explain the Brahma Sutra in such a simple manner. So he admitted also that the commentaries of Sankara never give such natural explanation of the Vedanta Sutras as he had obtained from Mahaprabhu. He then submitted himself as an advocate and follower. In few days, Sarvabhauma turned out to be one of the best Vaishnava of the time. When report of this came out, the whole of Orissa sang the praise of Krishna Chaitanya, and hundreds came to him and became his followers. In meantime, Mahaprabhu thought of visiting southern India, and he started with one Krishnadas Brahmana for the journey. His biographer had given us a detail of the journey. He went first to Kumar Kshetra, where he performed a miracle by cutting a leper named Vasudeva. He met Ramanand Roy, the governor of the Vidyanagar, on the bank of the Godavari and had a philosophical conversation with him on the subject of Prema Bhakti. He worked another miracle by touching the 7 tala trees through which Ramchandra, the son of Dashrath, had shot his arrow and killed the great Bali. He preached Vaishnavism and Nam Sankirtan throughout the journey. At Ranga Kshetra, he stayed for 4 months in the house of one Venkata Bhatt in order to spend the rainy season. There he converted the whole family of Venkata from Ramanuja Vaishnavism to Krishna Bhakti along with the son of Venkata, a boy of 10 years named Gopal, that none different than Gopal but Goswami, who afterward came to Vrindavan and became one of the 6 Goswamis or prophets serving under the leader of Sri Chaitanya. Trained up in Sanskrit by his uncle Prabodhanand Saraswati, Gopal wrote several books on Vaishnavism. Sri Chaitanya visited numerous places in South India as far as Skip, Comorin, and returned to Puri in 2 years by Pandipura on the Bhima. In this latter place, his spiritual one, Tukaram, who became from that time a religious preacher himself. I have the life of Tukaram. I have not read it, but I think it's interesting to read. This fact has been admitted in his Adhangas, which have been collected in a volume by Mr. Satyendra Nath Tagore of the Bombay Civil Service. During his journey, he had served discussions with the Buddhists, the Jains, and the Mayavadis in several places and converted his opponent to Vaishnavism. Upon his return to Puri, Raja Pratap Rudradev and several Pandit Brahmanas joined the banner of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was now 27 years of age, and in his 28th year, he went to Bengal as far as Gouda in Maid. There he picked up 2 great personages named Rupa and Sanatan, who descended from the lines of Carnatic Brahmanas. These 2 brothers turned demi-Muslims by their continual contact with Hussain Shah, the then emperor of Gouda. The names had been changed by the emperor into Dabir Khas and Sakara Malik, and their master loved them heartily since they were both learned in Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit and were loyal to servant of the state. The 2 gentlemen had found no way to come back as regular Hindus and returned to Mahaprabhu for spiritual help while he was at the Puri. Mahaprabhu had written in reply that he would come to them and extricate them from their spiritual difficulties. Now that he had come to Gouda, both the brothers appeared before him with their long-standing prayer. Mahaprabhu ordered them to go to Vrindavan and meet him there. Chaitanya returned to Puri through Shantipur, where he again met his dear mother, and after a short stay at Puri, he left for Vrindavan. This time he was accompanied by one Balbhadra Bhattacharya. He visited Vrindavan and came down to Prayag, Allahabad, converting a large number of Mohammedans to Vaishnavism by argument from the Quran. The descendants of those converts are still known as Pathan Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami met him in Allahabad, and Chaitanya trained him up to spirituality in 10 days and directed him to go to Vrindavan on missions. His first mission was to write theological works explaining scientifically pure bhakti and prem. And the second mission was to revive the places where Krishna Chandra had, in the end of the Aparavya, exhibited his spiritual lila. For the benefit of the religious world, Rupa Goswami left Allahabad for Vrindavan, and Mahaprabhu came down to Banaras. There he resided in the house of Chandrasekhar and accepted his daily bhiksha meal in the house of Tapan Mishra. Here it was that Sanatan Goswami joined him and took instructions for 2 months in spiritual matters. The biographic, especially Krishnadas Kaviraj, has given us detail of Chaitanya's teaching to Rupa and Sanatan. Krishnadas was not a contemporary writer, but he gathered his information from the Goswamis themselves, the direct disciple of Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami, who was the nephew of Sanatan and Rupa, and who has left us his invaluable work of Satsandarbha, has philosophized on the precept of his great leader. We have gathered and summarized the precept of Chaitanya from the books of those great writers. While at Banaras, Chaitanya had an interview with the learned sannyasis of that time in the house of Maratha Brahman, who had invited all the sannyasis for entertainment. At this interview, Chaitanya showed a miracle which attracted all the sannyasis to him. Then ensued reciprocal conversation. The sannyasis were headed by their most learned leader, Prakashanand Saraswati. And after a short controversy, they submitted to Mahaprabhu and admitted that they had been misled by the commentaries of Shankaracharya. It was impossible even for learned scholar to oppose Chaitanya for a long time, for there was some spell in him which touched their hearts and made them weep for the spiritual improvement. The sannyasis of Banaras soon fell at the feet of Chaitanya and asked for his grace, Kripa. Chaitanya then preached pure bhakti and instilled into their heart spiritual love for Krishna, which obliged them to give up sectarian feelings. The whole population of Banaras, on this wonderful conversation of the sannyasis, turned Vaishnavas, and they made a master Sankirtan with the new Lord after sending Sanatan to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu went to Puri again through the jungles with his comrade Balabhadra, and Balabhadra reported that Mahaprabhu had shown a good many miracles on his way to Puri, such as making tigers and elephants dance on hearing the name of Krishna. From this time, that is from his 31st year, Mahaprabhu continually lived in Puri, the house of Kashi Mishra, until his disappearance in his 48th year at the time of Sankirtan in the temple of Tuta Gopinath. And during these 18 years, his life was one of the subtle love and piety. He was surrounded by numerous followers, all of whom were of the highest order of Vaishnavas and who were distinguished from the common people by their purest character and learning, firm religious principle, and spiritual love of Radha and Krishna. Swarup Damodar, who had been known by the name of Purushottamacharya, while Mahaprabhu is Nadia, joined him from Banaras and accepted service as his secretary. No production of any poet or philosopher could be laid before Mahaprabhu unless Swarup had passed. No production of any poet or philosopher could be laid before Mahaprabhu unless Swarup had passed it as pure and useful. Raya Ramananda was his second mate. Both he and Swarup would sing while Mahaprabhu expressed his sentiment on a certain point of worship. Paramanand Puri was his minister in matters of religion, and there are hundreds of anecdotes described by his biographers, which we do not think it meet here to reproduce. Mahaprabhu slept short. His sentiment carried him far and wide in the firmament of spirituality every day and night, and all his admirers and followers watched him throughout. He worshipped, communicated with his missionaries at Vrindavan, and conversed with those religious men who newly came to visit him. He sang and danced, took no care of himself, and oftentimes lost himself in religious beatitude. All who came to him believed in him as all beautiful God, appearing in the nether world for the benefit of mankind. He loved his mother all along and sent her Mahaprasad now, and then with those who went to Nadia. He was most amiable in nature. Humility was personified in him. His swept appearance gave cheer to all who came in contact with him. He appointed Prabhu Nityananda as the missionary in charge of Bengal. He dispatched 6 disciples, the Goswamis, to Vrindavan to preach love in the up country. This he markedly did in the case of Junior Haridas. He never lacked in giving proper instruction in life to those who solicited them. This will be seen in his teaching to Raghunath Das Goswami. And his treatment to Haridas will show how he loved spiritual men and how he defied caste distinction in spiritual brotherhood. So with those thoughts, I think we pray at the divine lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give us his mercy on this most auspicious day of his appearance, that we can just imbibe strictly his instructions that he has given for the age of Kali to chant the holy name. So I will continue chanting until I see only my name, then I will log off. But I intend to chant. If you can please bless me so I can chant continually, except 45 minutes in between for some specific duty, and then continue until midnight. And then because Krishna will be, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be pleased with our effort, will give us the strength to join next day at 2 o'clock. So thank you very much for your association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.